All right, we are here with Vanguard men's soccer head coach Jesus Miramontes in his first season leading the Vanguard Lions program, but not a stranger to Vanguard, the Vanguard campus, because he's been an assistant coach with that same program for the last 20 years. Now you're the leader. Welcome. And how are things going for you?
It's going great. You know, I'm blessed to be in this position. Excited. A bunch of different emotions, but yeah, I'm ready to go.
Since you accepted the position in May, you've obviously been talking to your players, getting to know the newcomers, obviously solidifying relationships with players that have already been in the program. What has the transition been like from being someone who was helping lead the program, to now being the bona fide leader of this group of young men?
It's definitely been challenging, you know, especially administratively. Just a lot of behind the scenes stuff that I had to take care of. And you know, obviously before being the associate head coach, it was, you know, X's and O's and how to win games and what players to bring in. But now it's everything that, plus obviously everything behind the scenes as well within, you know, having these guys in the classroom and things like that. So a lot more work, but I'm up for the challenge.
Being the head coach now, you obviously want to put your own stamp on the program. We know the program has been successful in the past, but putting your own stamp on the program is probably something that is important to you. So what is the core message that you have been sort of conveying to your players as they get to understand what your expectations are of them?
I think to just be graceful and humble with the whole situation that you're in. And I think for me, it's with bringing in, you know, 12 newcomers, and having so many veterans. There's a top and there's a bottom, and we don't have a lot of people in between. So I think really having our veteran leadership, you know, extend their hand out, you know, and those are just life lessons that I'm trying to teach these guys, you know, to give people grace and to allow people to make mistakes, you know, because ultimately we're all going to make mistakes in life and you know, not just on the field but off the field as well. And how do we react to those mistakes is what we want. You know, we want these guys to be, you know, of good character, and I think that's a huge part of it.
Obviously, last year this team was a champion both in the GSAC regular season. They also won the GSAC tournament, got to the NAIA opening round. What do you do for an encore? What are the expectations for this program, both short term as in this year, and long term as you know, hopefully have a long, successful tenure here at Vanguard? Yeah,
and I think with that, it's you know, I mean, short term, obviously I want to, you know, continue the winning traditions, you know, that have been put, you know, before me, and obviously having, you know, being the third coach in 30 years or so, with Dave McLeish, you know, set the foundation here, and then, you know, Coach Dodge really ran with it, you know, within these last, you know, 20 years and did an awesome job. I think, you know, being behind those two, you know, those two great men, it's going to be one of those things where I want to now, you know, have my own legacy here, you know, for years to come. So, you know, short term, obviously winning, but also long term, you know, just you know, for us to become, you know, a scholar athlete team every single year. I think that's big for us, and for us to really put ourselves out there across campus as being great servant leaders, and not just on campus as well, but also in the community with doing camps and other things that we can now start doing, you know, in this future.
When you look at this year's roster and who can make an impact, there's obviously a lot of players. You have a pretty deep roster. But there are three in particular that are returning All-Americans. And what sort of impact do they make in terms of just what they provide each and every day when you see them on the soccer field?
Yeah, so I think with they're all different, and they all kind of command their own, you know, their own lines. With, you know, starting with Stewart, you know, he plays up top, and, you know, goal scorer can, you know, individually is great, and he kind of leads the forwards. Then we have Jesse, who obviously, is the heartbeat of that midfield, with what he does and the hard work that he does, lets everybody else create and kind of be a little bit more free flowing. And then obviously Robles is the reigning most valuable player of the conference and an All-American, and he's a seasoned veteran, and he is the anchor of this team, and he leads by example. He's a winner. And his grit and his grind is something that's kind of infectious. So I think with those three guys, right down the spine, they do a great job on their individual lines, and they do a great job, leading this team.
And when you talk about those All-Americans, obviously they're a great starting point, but you can't win without depth. You can't win without other guys also on that field. So who are some of the other guys that maybe played some sort of a role last year but might have increased responsibility this year that you're looking forward to watching play this year?
Well, obviously we dealt with some injuries last year, and I think, three players in particular with, Marcus, going down last year with an injury. He was the newcomer of the year 2 years ago, and obviously coming, playing with the Arsenal Academy, and then Luca as well, coming from another academy as well, that, he's played at that level, and then, obviously Zach as well. So we have three academy players that are sitting right in the middle of the field, that are very good, and I'm going to really rely on those guys to really help out Jesse in the middle, and with those three guys and the experience that they have now, after a year underneath their belts, I'm expecting big things out of those guys. Someone that's really kind of coming forward a little bit is obviously someone like an Aiden Doherty who's been doing phenomenal in practice. But there's also those other guys, those Nate Gomez and Austin Tubbs who can get at the end of things and score some goals for us. So I'm really looking forward for those guys to see what they can do, moving forward.
One of the things last year, obviously, it was a banner year for the program, but when you look at it statistically, the thing that really strikes out at you is 8 goals allowed for the entire year. Not just in conference play, but the entire season. Who do you have coming back on the back line? Is that something that you feel like you can repeat again, being that stingy as a defensive unit?
Yeah, I mean, and talking about defense, I mean, it's definitely a team effort, and I think our forwards are the first line of defense, who they just, they all work extremely hard, and anchoring that middle of the defense is obviously, Jesse in the middle, but our back line is what, our foundation is built on. Obviously I've spoken enough about Robles, what he does for our back line, but bringing back a seasoned veteran like Harold, and bringing back another guy like JoJo who's a lockdown defender. Those guys are 3 of the 4 guys that started last year that only allowed 8 goals. So penciling in some other guys on the other side, but with those 3 guys, it's going to be tough to break us down. But I think it's a testament of our whole team. When you're giving up 8 goals for the season, it's just not relying on the back line. It's a team effort.
And then you've got the final line of defense, and that's who's in goal, the goalkeeper. Last year, really good one there, an All-American, Jimmy Choi, who's moved on. So you're looking for somebody that's going to take his place. Right now, who are you looking at to potentially have that role?
It's definitely not an easy decision. With those guys, it's just, they all 3 of them with Jackson and Brian and Edwin, they all give you something a little bit different. Size and experience and leadership, they're all just different from each other. So, the blessed part I have of being here is the fact that I have, obviously Brandon and Cheyenne, who both are ex-goalkeepers from here. So it makes my job a little bit easier on the decision. And they're going to really recommend, and I think we're all, looking at it from the outside in, is the fact that, we're gonna, they're gonna pick someone, and I'm pretty much gonna go with what they're saying because of the experience they have, in the net as well. So it makes my job easier. But we'll see which one comes forward.
There's 2 different kinds of approaches. There's one where you're the underdog going in and you want to exceed expectations, and then there's the one where you're the favorite. You, of course, were picked to finish first in the GSAC this year in the vote of the coaches. So the players know that they have a target on their back. Are they feeling any pressure this year to go ahead and repeat, or is it something that they kind of relish right now?
I think pressure, yeah. I think because we came out, 18th in the nation as well. But I think with the veterans that we have, we're up for the challenge. I think that we're right down the middle, and we talked about it. We got some good veterans in there that have been in this situation. So we've been in some battles, and so I think our guys are up for the challenge. I think they did an awesome job on the off season of playing with some some UPSL teams and playing at some high levels. And they're all coming back in, and they came in fit, and we have 33 guys on our roster, and we've never been through a preseason camp that we haven't lost anybody. We usually lose guys to hamstrings and guys to groins and different injuries, but this is the first time that we've been completely healthy going into our first scrimmage, and that in my 20 years has never happened.
So we talk about the GSAC and how tough that schedule is going to be top to bottom. It's a very, very, very competitive league. You've got a couple of matches on the schedule early on, non-conference, that are going to test you for sure. What do you think about this schedule and how you put it together to test this team?
It's definitely going to have some challenges. Going out to Mobile is going to be a big test for us, and where we are nationally. But at the same time, it's in order to want to win a national championship, you have to go out and play some of those guys that you may see, or people similar to those teams that you're going to end up competing against. With going out and playing St. Thomas, number 11, and Mobile, number 2 in the nation, who lost in a national championship. It's going to be a big test, but I think our guys, the preparation that they've done before getting into preseason camp has been huge, and I think they're ready to go. And obviously we still have to prepare ourselves with the first 2 games that we have with the scrimmage, and then obviously go opening up at SoCA for our first non-conference competition. But I think our guys are ready. They're ready to go, and they came in as fit as I can ever see them.
VU Soccer Field is going to be the place to be this year in 2022. Please come out and support your Lions as head coach Chewy Miramontes begins his first year as the mentor of the club. Congratulations, Coach, and we look forward to watching you this season.
Thank you.